Wow, day 2 of Loop. It has been an amazing experience. I think you can see I've gone a little bit more local with a Berlin look of a little haggard from a night of partying and wearing all black. But wow, it's been an amazing day. So a few things that really blew me away was I took this class on listening the secret of sound design. And in that, there was tons of good thoughts around creating and hearing and the process around sound design. And one of the things I really enjoyed right off the bat was about experimentation. And the guy was saying that if you sit down and you just kind of hit the random button or randomly change some parameters, that's great, it might get you a sound, but it's not a good experiment. An experiment, like scientists who are doing that, aren't taking random beakers off the shelf and mixing them and seeing what happens. They're very specifically, systematically looking at maybe one thing, like grabbing one element and mixing it with different ones to see how those change, to learn something, and view that in the same way around sound design. If you sit down, create a clear path of understanding of like, I have a single oscillator and I'm going to add these different LFOs to these different parameters to see how it affects, not just randomly do everything. Really amazing metaphor and idea and way of looking at developing your sound design skills. Here's my list again. I love writing down notes. This was done by, probably going to say his name wrong, but Francis Prev. And another amazing thing that he brought up was how you get more listening value. Basically, if you'll hear a song, you'll like it. If you hear it over and over and over, it's open to if you can listen to it over and over or not. And one of the things that gives you that long-term longevity of your sounds is a little chaos. Basically, if you have just sine waves and they're just very simple harmonics, not much going on, you'll probably get tired of it listening to it, let's say like 5 times on repeat. But if you had some analog distortion that is like slightly moving in and out of phase and having all sorts of different like issues that come up subtly to give it that chaos, or add distortion as another way of adding chaos, or anything that gives it that little change over time, will add to a much more listenable song over and over and over again. I really enjoyed that concept as well. Some of the other things, I had lots of amazing conversations just in the hallway. I went to this music curriculum thing, and it was booked, it was full, roundtable, and I just started talking to people in the hallway, and that was amazing. I met some very people who are changing music education in both like from companies or personal people in schools, things like that. And it was really touching and really amazing. I also had lots of run-ins where I was over in like one of their gear rooms and hanging out, talking to people. I also helped with, they had this one room, it was gigantic, of ridiculous amount of instruments. They had the OP1, they had some of the Roland synths, they had the Mini Brute, they had multiple pushes, Ableton controllers, this thing I've never seen before, Duo. And you could have like 20 or more people at different stations, they could jam together. And I was helping do that. And that was cool. But one thing most people didn't understand was it was all linked together through Link and synced in time. I mean, that wasn't possible a few years ago. And now there's 20 people and 20 workstations all jamming together. It was just really creative and interesting to see how that was happening instead of just classes. There was tons of cool kind of interactive things you could do. And lastly, I went to some really good performances. The Nile project was amazing. They bring together different people in the region of the Nile to promote peace through music. So they play music from different cultures, especially cultures that are clashing or having issues. And they play this out to people as a way of having them come together, and then from there be able to discuss politics. And that's just, I mean, that's the power of music. They're really using it for what you can, and it was amazing to see. And then I went to Tresdor, which is this huge power plant that turned into a multi-room club, and they had machine drum, no such thing, and a bunch of other people, and that was an amazing night, which is why I'm so haggard. Went to bed at like 4 a.m. and my voice from yelling. Yeah, that's my tired review and worn out from an amazing day of day 2 at Loop 2017, and one more day to totally rock this. So thanks.